MJ Hurley, I think we're live.
Yes, we are, and we have graphics. They're fancy.
I don't, not on mine. Sorry, guys. It's a work in progress still on mine.
Oof. Okay, I have my go-go juice today.
Yeah, I have my
Coach
Go-Go
Bruce
juice
apple
also.
juice. Are we really already lagging? Are we gonna do this today?
apple juice. It's 7 o'clock, dude. It's after dark.
It's after dark. Yes, it is.
But
Ooh. What?
MJ, baseball's back. Let's go.
What jersey you got?
I'm sorry?
I got a Matt Chapman. You can't
Matt
really see
Chapman,
that.
the one that said that they're used to playing in empty stadiums. I like it.
Shut up. Yes, that's what we're supposed to talk about first. I know. Go ahead.
I have a championship Anthony Rizzo jersey.
Good job. Only championship in 108 years. It's okay.
Hey, you know what? And I live to tell about it.
That's true. I have not seen the A's even play in a World Series in my lifetime, so it's okay.
That's fair.
That's just the way she goes sometimes.
That's fair.
So do you want to bring up your very entertaining story first before we get rolling?
Wait, what entertaining story? I have a lot of them.
Oh my god. The thing we were just talking about.
With what?
The video we were just watching, like
Oh, yeah.
60 seconds before we went live.
Fair enough. Hey, it's the apple juice.
I need some more apple juice to deal with this.
I don't blame you. Believe me, a lot of people do. But no, it's great. So, as you may know or may not know, if MJ and I seem a little distracted, I am currently watching the Yankees Nationals game right now. That just started. Opening day 2020 that we thought we would never get to.
I told you we would get there.
Yeah, but we would get there, but there was a lot of bumps in that way.
I think the real story is just you just didn't trust me, Bruce.
I think the real story was shut up. No,
Okay, anyway, so we're watching the game, right?
I'm kidding. We knew that there was going to be a season, but we just didn't know to what degree that there was going to be a season.
And
but so I don't know if many people saw it, but Dr. Fauci,
the Dr. Fauci,
he's a the now.
He really is.
The Dr. Fauci throughout the first pitch.
If you could even call it that.
Ranking a guy's first pitch and seeing some of the first pitches that I've seen, I ranked 50 Cent. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Yep.
But 50 Cent's first pitch, probably the worst I've ever seen. Fauci ranks up there.
He's up with the 50 Cent Carly Rae Jepsen level.
Yes. Oh my God. Hey, bless this man, but he can't throw.
Okay, there's a reason that he's in a laboratory and giving press conferences and not a manager or a coach or something.
So he can social distance from a baseball. Jeez.
He took his advice a little too seriously. He's like, I can't throw this anywhere near the guy, otherwise he'll touch it.
Exactly. But leave it alone. I'm gonna keep this baseball.
No, this is mine.
You can't have it. I'm gonna throw it this way.
But for real, it's been very nice to have baseball back. I've been watching, as Paige told you before we started going here, I bought MLB TV, $60. I think it's worth it. If I watch one game a night, that's $1 a game. I think that's worth it. So I've been falling asleep to some preseason games every night. That made me very happy, just hearing the sounds of baseball. I do want to get your opinion on the fake crowd noise.
Ooh, that's a little controversial. Some people
It
like
is.
it, some people don't.
Go.
I think it provides a little bit of normalcy
Yeah.
for players. Some teams might not be used to it. I'm not gonna be that guy and say what teams might not be used to it, because there's some teams that have a lot of open ballparks.
Marlins.
We'll go with that. And but no, I don't mind it. I think it, like you alluded to just a little bit ago, it helps you to fall asleep, man.
Yeah.
Like I continuously held on the Cubs White Sox or Cubs Twins scrimmage, and I was watching that in my recliner kicked back with a nice cold drink in my hand, and lo and behold, out. And it just
Yep.
felt right. I had the air conditioning. It was 90 something degrees outside. I had the air conditioning going crazy. I had the fiance going crazy because it was too cold, but it's all good.
It's okay. It's fine.
Love you, babe. Love you, babe. But it was great. It just felt like, even regardless of the fact that I'm being scrimmages, regardless of the fact of the Sox lineup, ridiculously amazing lineup, kicking crap out of the Cubs 2 games in a row. Like I said, it was a scrimmage, but it was just nice to just sit back and just hearing baseball sounds again. So I'm okay with it, actually. I'm okay with it.
So I don't remember if we talked about this last week. We might have, but it was after dark, so it's hard for either of us to remember. Even though I was of perfectly sound mind, I have no reason not to remember.
I have sound mind. I remember everything that we talked about.
Okay, buddy. So did we talk about the
Wait, hold on. You hear that? Wait, I'm sorry, MJ.
What?
Do you hear that?
What?
Listen. Okay.
Now I'm mad because I've already opened my energy drink. I can't.
I opened my energy drink too.
Yeah. Okay. So did we talk about the fact that we're giving the Houston Astros, a team who is known for using sounds to stand for certain pitches, a full array of different noises?
No, and you know what's funny? That was another topic that I read about too, and it's actually pretty interesting. Hold on, before we touch on that,
yeah,
I'm totally going on a tangent.
Go for it.
I loved what I saw in the scrimmage between the Royals and Astros.
Bregman, bam. Altuve, bam.
I don't care. I don't care. I'm sorry. Like we live in a time that might be frowned upon with regards to like baseball, the old school framework of baseball, but there's still a certain aspect to it that, guess what? These guys played baseball for years, and they're still going to run the same rules to an extent that was done before. So bravo.
They're also getting coached by guys who have been in baseball for 2 or 3 times the amount of time that they've been in baseball. So you have a lot of history there. And as much as you can say that people will claim those are accidents, you can't convince me otherwise. And there are going to be a lot of accidents.
I tried pitching him a fastball inside.
Yeah, I was just trying to, defend the plate, right? It's my plate.
Perfect.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so something you brought up at the end of the last show, which is fair. Matt Chapman saying they're used to playing in stadiums with no fans, which is true, because, Oakland doesn't have the best stadium. We don't have the best ownership, not the best relationship with the fans. I talked to, I don't know if you heard, I was talking to somebody, but it was a writer for the San Jose Mercury News. His name is Dieter, and he was just ripping on the fact that, like, one of the biggest reasons people go to baseball games now is not for the baseball, but it's for the experience. And there's no experience at Oakland. Like, the product on the field is good, but they don't have anything interesting or shiny. You go to Kansas City, and they have the giant fountain in center field. They have, like, literally full-size wiffle ball fields.
They have a beautiful stadium.
Yeah, Kauffman Stadium is amazing. So you compare it to places like that, there's no experience to going to a baseball game in Oakland, so why not just watch it on TV, find a illegal Reddit stream, or listen to it on the radio? Like, there's no reason to go to an Oakland A's game. So I agree with what Matt Chapman said. I think they really do have an advantage because they see the cutouts in the stands and they're like, yeah, they're pretty much just as excited as normal Oakland A's fans.
Fair.
So I don't know. You can talk about. I need to turn off my air conditioner real quick. So you talk. I'll be back.
So no, actually, you know what I really want to do is actually get your opinion on something.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should do some predictions.
Okay.
I probably should have brought it up to you before we
fine.
actually started talking. But no, it's interesting. So a lot of like Fangraphs came out with their lines for what they think the NL Central is going to be. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm totally like hyper focused on the NL Central.
Yeah.
And I've been looking at the AL Central a lot too because I'll be honest with you, I'm not one of those Cubs fans that hate on the White Sox. I'm not going to. I have a lot of respect for that lineup because it's filthy, and I am a big fan of young, talented, athletic players, regardless of the sport. So that said, right now, if you would say, so let's go. I know your specialty would probably be AL West. So who you taking out of the AL West?
I think. So I was talking about this, little plug to my own podcast. I was talking about this on my podcast the other day because I did like an AL West centered episode because I had two beat writers, one for the Rangers, one for the Angels. So I think the AL West is really interesting. I think if any division in baseball pumps out 4 playoff teams, it's highly unlikely, but it's statistically possible. I can't talk. That's impossible. It's possible. Kim Possible. Anyway.
Oh, no!
Because your ringtone, I had to. So
Power Rangers. It's Power Rangers.
Okay, settle down. So I think, especially in a 16-team format, the A's and the Astros are pretty much guaranteed. I think that order doesn't inherently matter. I think they're going to beat up on the rest of the AL West and most of the NL West together. So I think the A's and the Astros are going to do very well there. I really am intrigued, not just because I've talked to their beat writers recently, but I am intrigued. I think the Rangers have one of the best pitching rotations in baseball. Not just the AL West, not just the AL. They have one of the deepest rotations, not necessarily the biggest stars, but I mean, they have Corey Kluber as their 3 right now. So when you have a former 2-time Cy Young Award winner as your 3, that's pretty good. So for the Rangers, the big question is their lineup. Their lineup is extremely inconsistent. Then you go to the Angels, the big question is their pitching rotation because their rotation is inconsistent. So for both of those teams, if either one of them actually puts it together, they'll be very good. But the question is, can they actually put it together in a 60-game season? Will they be able to figure it out that quickly? So I'm still going to go Astros 1, A's 2. I'd probably go Angels 3 just because they have Mike Trout. But heaven forbid Mike Trout get hurt. I could see them fall all the way to 5. I do have the Mariners at last in that division because the Mariners are just awful and they have nobody on their team that you would even really recognize other than Kyle Seager. So I'm still going to go Astros, A's, Angels, Rangers, Mariners. I'm actually impressed that you're giving us the full ranking.
Yeah. I was only asking for the winner out of it. But
well, because I did this on my show the other day. That's the only reason I have it out in my head. But I mean, on my show, I went through every division. So
next up, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
AL East.
So AL East, I think Yankees, assuming they stay healthy, they are clearly the best team in the American League, not just the AL East.
You know what's scary, though, down there? I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you.
No, go for it.
I keep doing it. I always do it. I'm sorry.
I'm used to it. It's okay.
The Rays.
Yes. So the problem I have with the Rays is Blake Snell is their leader, and he's been pissed off since March. He's not happy. And so even if he's playing at a normal capacity, if he's pitching like Blake Snell, he's not acting like Blake Snell. And I think that's the biggest issue on that team because the Rays are a team that perform off of being the underdogs. And so maybe Blake Snell being pissed off helps them, but I don't think so. I think he's pissed off at just baseball in general right now. And he's basically been refusing to talk to media. He's been very quiet on Zoom interviews and things like that. He's just not been acting like himself. So I think that is the biggest detriment to the Rays. They're still going to make the playoffs, don't get me wrong. They're still going to be the number 2 team coming out of that division because I love the Blue Jays. I think they are a very interesting team, but they're so young so the way I look at these young teams, this applies to the Blue Jays and the White Sox, is they could either really benefit from having a shortened season because they're not going to hit the point where teams kind of figure them out, right? Because you have guys who are really young, so you have Luis Robert, you have Bo Bichette, you have those guys.
You don't have as much game tape.
Exactly. So normally you get to about a 60-game point and they start having a little slump, but that 60-game point is going to be the playoffs, and then it's a whole different animal. So I think if either of those teams start off hot, they'll be really good. So I could see the Blue Jays making the playoffs now. I thought they had no chance in the 10-team playoff format. So, I mean, I still think it's Yankees clear number 1, Rays clear number 2. I don't really care for the Red Sox or who's the other. What am I missing? The Red Sox or the Orioles. That's why I forgot about them.
That's not. But you know what's the one thing about Baltimore?
Yeah.
It's like this every year with that team. Is they get off to a hot start and then they just fade.
True.
But and that's all you need. That's all you need from a 60-game schedule right now is a hot start.
But I think part of that is because teams are also pacing themselves for a long season. And so
That's fair.
they kind of take days off against the Orioles because they don't really care. And then once it gets to the middle and the end of the season, they're like, okay, this is a bad team. We need to beat up on them. They're not going to have that mentality from the start. So,
I agree. So right now, I'm viewing some of these teams as the 21, 22, 23, 24-year-old hot girl that is hot at that time.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, all of a sudden, she decides to think that it was just all about looks, and they fade real quick.
Yep.
Whereas you have somebody else who wants to go 23, 22, or 22, 23, 24, 25, and on, and be consistent.
Yep.
I hear you. I hear you. Fair enough, sir.
Yeah.
Fair
so
enough.
it's the
All right, so
question.
we're gonna move on.
Yep.
We're gonna move on to the AL Central.
So
This is tough. This is. I mean, I had a difficult time with this one.
I still have the Twins sitting at number 1. I think the power that they have is just so ridiculous that, again,
If it doesn't go out like last year,
exactly. As long as they don't perform, because we were talking to Brandon about this last week. As long as they perform like their normal selves for that 60 games, as long as it's not their playoff team, they'll be perfectly fine. They'll make the playoffs. I think the Indians are interesting because they still have a decent rotation. They still have an MVP player in Francisco Lindor. The rest of their team is a little shaky. Really young in some places, a little older in some places. They don't have much middle ground. So I think the Indians could be a team. They could catch hot, go on a 10-game win streak, and that pretty much propels them into the playoffs. I'd still put them. I think the Indians and the White Sox are 2 and 3, and then the Royals and the Tigers are just awful. So again, in a 16-team playoff, I could see the Indians and the White Sox possibly making it because right now the number 2 automatically makes it in the division. So right. It's who's number 2. My gut says White Sox, just because they're a young team, and again, in the shortened season, who knows what is going to frickin' happen. So I think, again, the same logic applied to the Blue Jays. If the White Sox can start hot, I think they'll be just fine. But if not, then I think the Indians are the clear number 2.
Fair. So now we're going to move on to the NL.
Yes.
So here's the crazy thing. The NL now has a DH,
Correct.
Which I love, which it should have been universal. I do like the strategy behind not having it. However, I think it's kind of fun, and it kind of evens the field for all teams. And frankly, as a Cubs fan, I love the fact that there's a DH now.
True, that helps you guys a lot.
100%. So that said, let's go NL East.
So, fun fact before I give this. Giancarlo Stanton, in his first at-bat today, it was the first time a DH hit in a National League hosted game, and he hit a home run in the first at-bat as a DH in a National League hosted game. Just a cool little fun fact for you. Because I'm smart.
Cheers.
There we go.
Apple juice. Well, it's after dark.
I have orange juice and energy drink, so it's fine.
That sounds very, very acidic.
I mean, yeah, it is. It's fine. My stomach can handle it. We're good. So, I think the NL East is very interesting because on paper, the Braves and the Nationals both have really good rosters. I think that...
However, Soto.
Yes. However, he also had 1 positive test this morning and then 3 straight negative tests.
Interesting.
So they're trying to figure out what's going on there. Everybody is collectively freaking out. So I'm just going to assume right now that they have Juan Soto for the majority of the games. I'll give them the majority, so at least 31 games. I think the Nationals come in at number 2 just because they have a very similar syndrome to the A's, that they start poorly. I don't know if that's going to change because we start in July. I don't think it'll actually change. I think it's just the beginning of the season. They start a little bit slow. I think they'll be good enough to get the number 2 in that division. The Mets are intriguing. The Phillies are intriguing. Again, let's say
the Mets pitching is scary.
The Mets pitching is very scary, but the lineup
they also
on
have
their
the best
team,
pitcher in the game right now.
Yes, they do. Well, don't tell Garrett Cole that, but it's fine. Okay, last year Garrett Cole was better, but it's okay. I'll let that slide. You look at the Phillies. Let's say Bryce Harper returns to 2015 Bryce Harper form, and he does that for 60 games. They're probably the best team in that division if he does that. But is that likely? Probably not. So I think that division, more than any division, has the biggest race for number 2. Probably the NL Central too.
I think the NL Central is probably the most convoluted division. But I'm sorry.
No, continue. It's okay. I would still have to go Braves number 1. I'll go Phillies 2, just because I think they underperformed last year, and in a season full of oddities, I think they will be one of them. Which is a change because of hearing Juan Soto, because I said the Nationals the other day as the number 2 in that division, but
if you're assuming he's going to play the majority of the games, though.
The majority of the games, but still, if he only plays 31, that's what I'm saying is, like, let's say he is quarantined for 14 days. That's a lot of games that they're missing him. He'll still be very helpful, but let's say Bryce Harper performs at basic Bryce Harper level. That's a big difference because they're very similar comparison players in terms of stats. So if you lose Juan Soto, it's basically like the Phillies losing Bryce Harper. So whoever has their guy for more games is probably going to do better. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. I still just don't trust the Mets. They don't have a winning culture, other than the fact they did go to the World Series. I'll give them that a couple of years ago. But
2015.
Yeah, they just still, I don't think they actually have a winning culture there. And then I'm not even going to talk about the Marlins. We're not even going to touch on that. Not even going to go there.
Derek Jeter's a part of that organization. Let's just say that. Anyway, NL West, we don't even need to talk about. I'm sorry. I'm going to say that.
Dodgers number 1, Diamondbacks number 2. There you go.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you. So, in my opinion, and it's not because I'm a Cubs fan.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, the most difficult division to predict is this one.
For sure.
The NL Central. I'm going to ask for yours, but that being said, I'm going to throw out what I think right away.
Yeah, go for it.
Just because I'm actually picking the Cincinnati Reds. I am.
Interesting.
However, the Cubs are going to make the playoffs.
Okay.
Are you writing this down? Like, what's going on over there?
No, I'm looking at the Reds roster because I know they made improvements. I just want to look at it. Keep going.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Explain yourself.
They added Castellanos. He was on the Cubs last year. They added Mike Moustakas.
Yep.
Who else? And obviously their pitching is awesome. They signed Wade Bailey. They signed
Miley.
Wade Bailey. Yeah. So, I'm sorry, Wade Miley.
Yeah.
Bailey. Dude.
Okay.
So yeah, the Reds are a scary team. That being said, in my opinion, I am picking the Cubs to finish second.
Really?
However, Fangraphs, it's actually pretty funny. Fangraphs predicted the Cubs to win 32 games. They also predicted the Reds, the Brewers, and the Cardinals to win 31.
Yes, I guess that's because of how bad they think the AL Central is going to be. Because, like, there's a certain... in a normal year, you could have... Like, statistically, you could have 3 teams in one division win 100 games, but that's not possible right now. They can't win the equivalent.
Yeah, but you also have to consider that they don't do it game by game like that. They just give, like, a arbitrary number.
Right, which is the problem with it. Because there's only a certain amount of... I forget, Devin showed me the number the other day, but there's a certain amount of wins that each division can have.
Right.
Interesting. Okay. So you have Reds and then Cubs. Who's your 3?
The Brewers. I don't think the Cardinals are going to be that good. I'm sorry.
Really?
I think they've fallen off. I know, and I hear everyone say that it's the Cardinals. It doesn't matter. It's the Cardinals, but I don't know. I think it's not. No, that's just my opinion.
Okay.
It could be wrong. Like I said, could be way off.
So I'm gonna piss you off then.
I'm cool with it.
Because I'm going to go.
I've heard the Cubs not some people saying the Cubs aren't going to make the playoffs this year, which is.
I'm gonna go. I'm trying to remember what I said the other day to sort of stay consistent. I'm gonna go Brewers, Cardinals number 1, or Brewers number 1, Cardinals number 2.
Wow, we are totally different.
Yes, I still have the Reds at 4.
Interesting.
Because I think I'm not a huge fan of Mike Moustakas. I think Joey Votto is good, but he doesn't play into a 60-game season type of needing to catch hot because he just has a ridiculous OBP. I'm not a huge fan of Freddie Galvis. Eugenio Suarez is good, but again, he's a big hot streak.
Him.
He's a big hot streak kind of guy, and so if he doesn't catch hot, there's a lot more danger there. So he could help a lot. He could not. I think they're pitching Trevor Bauer and Sonny Gray. If they're good, they're good. And if they're bad, they're really bad. Like, they hurt the team by even showing up bad.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Who did you choose to win it?
Brewers.
The Brewers? Interesting.
They have one of the top 3 players in baseball, so yes. In a season where more than ever you can have one person carry you, because Christian Yelich could put up 3 to 4.5 WAR, which means he's providing 3 to 4.5 wins to the Brewers, and that'll be the difference between first place and last place, probably. In that
so my only reaction to that though is the fact that the Cubs had and this is just like me being a homer.
Yeah.
The Cubs had multiple guys with the potential to hit 2020, like in a regular season, 20, 25, 30 home runs.
Yep.
It means absolutely jack nothing because they have some of the guys are the same hitter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're the same hitter. However, if they catch fire, Javier Baez, Javi's a stud, dude.
Yeah.
That dude, yeah, he catches fire. He can carry a portion of the load.
Yep.
Chris Bryant, former MVP. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, though, it does boil down to pitching. And,
yes, and that's my biggest. I like the Brewers starting rotation better. I like the top of the Cubs rotation better. But then we go to the bullpen, and it's ridiculous how much better.
And I agree with that. That's you're not wrong there. I do think the Brewers bullpen. I would take the Brewers bullpen over the Cubs bullpen any day.
Yeah. So then I still think the Cubs will make the playoffs. I just think they'll be the 3rd team in the Central. And I think they'll be good just based off the fact that they're going to beat up on the AL Central teams. So I think Fangraphs kind of has the right idea that there will be a couple teams at the top that are pretty close to each other, and it'll be a close race at the end. But I really do like the Cardinals. They have one of the best pitchers in baseball in Jack Flaherty. And so again, in a shortened season, him making 10 starts in 60 games is way more valuable than him making 20 starts or 20 or 30 starts in 162. So
Great.
as long as he performs like he should, I think Adam Wainwright is going to have an above average year on his farewell tour. Because we see that a lot from, especially in a shortened season. Again, we see that a lot from pitchers on their way out. They perform above average from the last 3 years before their retirement than they did in those last 3 years. So I think Adam Wainwright is going to provide more as a 4 or 5 than any other 4 or 5 in the entire division. So I think just things like that. Matt Carpenter cannot be as bad as he was last year. Yeah, okay. He was bad last year. So, yeah, I think that's how that's going to play out. Again, I don't see the Pirates doing anything. The Reds have
I'm gonna interrupt that again. I am. The only reason why is because the Pirates last year got out to an actual. They were pretty freaking decent. I don't know the exact numbers on it, but the Pirates blew up in the first half of last year. First quarter of last year.
I'm just going to let you sit on that. Jordan's here, so I'm just going to let you sit on you thinking the Pirates might have a hot start.
60 games, dude. Anybody can.
Okay, whatever you say.
60 games, bro.
Bruce, you think you're smart. It's fine.
60 games. I'm just telling you. 60 games. What's up, Jordan? How you doing, man?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm hanging in there. I'm Bruce, by the way.
Good. How you doing?
Jordan.
Hanging in there, dude.
Okay, Bruce, I'm going to make fun of you. Jordan, this guy just said that the Pirates might get off to a hot start this year.
Yes.
So is that what, 1-3, 1-4?
Right.
What's that for Pirates?
Hey, last year, what did they do last year? I'm telling you.
From what I know off the top of my head with the Pirates, they have their lineup is definitely good enough to get them on a hot start. So
it's only 60 games. All it takes.
Yeah, true.
You know, okay. Keep in mind though that this is not the team that I picked to do absolutely anything.
Bruce is just being patronizing towards me. But it's fine. It's fine.
I got you.
So, Jordan, for people watching who don't know you, I've had you on the podcast before. Just introduce yourself a little bit. Introduce yourself to Bruce because he's new here.
Sure. A little long story short, originally from Atlanta, Georgia. Name's Jordan Watkins. Went to Stanford, played football there. And currently, I know there's a pandemic going on, but if things were normal, I'd be a sports broadcaster. Usually doing a lot of things with Stanford Athletics. Had some opportunities at Pac-12 networks that were coming up, but then it was literally a week before those opportunities were coming up. COVID struck and shut everything down. But yeah, that's the most of it for me. Currently, right now, I'm at the Boys and Girls Club. I've been here just volunteering, helping to get some dinners and meals out to the community. And so, thankfully, they allowed me to take a little break here so I could be on today.
And he's been doing that. I interviewed him in like April, and he's been doing that since April as well. So
really?
Yeah, that's very cool.
Well, honestly, thank you for providing to the community. That's awesome. That's something that it's a very noble thing. So it's much appreciated, and thank you.
I appreciate it. It's just I'm happy I have the opportunity and the health to be able to do so. One of my really good friends, Ronnie Harris, so we were teammates at Stanford, and he'd been involved with the Boys and Girls Club way before the pandemic happened. And I just remember texting him about something. I think it was like to play Madden or 2K or something like that. And he's like, "No, I can't do that right now. I'm going to help volunteer." I was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And so he told me, and it's like, "All right, tell me what I need to do. Like, I want to hop on and then be on board." So, pretty much almost since day one, I've been here. He's been here basically since day one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Play some Call of Duty and let me know.
I'll play it every now and then. I won't be the best out there, but the thing with me in Call of Duty is I play it. So I was really good at Halo. Like Halo was my game.
Oh, okay.
And so I try to play Call of Duty sometimes like it's Halo, and it doesn't work.
It's not. I'm a 2K guy too, though. So I'm not gonna lie. I'm a 2K guy. Paint Beast, baby. Paint Beast.
Oh, Bruce, I will destroy you. Don't even start with me. Get out of here. So Jordan, what do you think of sports coming back? I know I talked to you a while before when we were talking about the idea of sports coming back and how much we miss sports. But now that we actually have baseball tonight, we have basketball scrimmages starting, we have football training camp maybe starting soon if they don't bicker with each other too much. What do you think of all of that coming back? What excites you the most?
It's interesting because I think for me, when I was looking at all the different leagues going on, I think for most of us, you were looking at soccer where there's NWSL that had their tournament going on in Utah. There were the European leagues that were getting back underway. And then it's just like, for me, it was always, okay, someone's going to test positive for something, and then we're going to go right back to square one with everything else. And yet, here we are, like the TBT basketball tournament went through and I think they didn't have any positive cases, which was, they almost kind of set the blueprint for, hey, NBA, this is what you want to do to make this happen. And also MLS, because they're in a bubble, WNBA as well. So the fact of watching that and seeing that happen and be successful, it's like, okay, this actually could work. Things can actually happen. So I'm excited mostly about the Braves being back. That's what I can't wait to see, man. I'm so excited. It's unfortunate that I won't be able to see Yasiel Puig tomorrow in the lineup since he tested positive. I hope he's doing well, but I'm really excited to see how they do.
I forgot you're an ATL guy.
Oh, absolutely. Shout out Morris Brown College students. That's where my mom and grandma went to college, HBCU in Atlanta. So
hey, anytime you get a shout out for mom and grandma, that's not.
I have no choice.
So we were talking about this before you came on, Jordan. Bruce was making me. He was basically testing me, trying to see what I thought of all the divisions in baseball. Okay, Bruce, that's what it was. I know that's what it was.
I was asking you. No, okay, hold on. No, hold on. Before he throws me under the bus, Jordan, I apologize. So basically, what I was asking him was who did he think was going to be the winner of each division? That's all it was. And then he ended up breaking it down to like every single ranking for the whole thing. I didn't need any of that. I just wanted one team. That's all I needed.
Okay, but now it's the top 2 teams in each division, so I had to go further.
Simple-minded, MJ. Simple-minded.
Sorry, Bruce. It's okay. So, Jordan, being from Atlanta, I know you're a big fan of the Braves. You know a lot about the Braves. So how do you think the Braves are going to do in the NL East?
It's going to be tough. The NL East is going to be one of the most interesting divisions to watch, especially in a shortened season. You think about, obviously, there's a World Series champion, Nationals, their lineup, and, I was watching a little bit of that game before I came over here. That lineup's going to look really good once again. And, of course, if Juan Soto can test negative and be back there as soon as possible, that just makes it that much more dangerous. The Mets are going to have a good lineup, especially if Cespedes can come back and really give them some dynamite. I know he really hasn't played in the last 2 years. And then, you just can keep going down the list. I mean, you look at the Phillies lineup, they can match up with just about anybody in the MLB. And then also so can the Braves. The only question for them is once you get past Max Fried and Mike Soroka, who's going to be that next consistent starter for them? And, that's been the question for them for a few years now, where, was it going to be Mike Foltynewicz, Julio Teheran in the past? And then again, so coming up, that's going to be the big question for them. Because when you look at that lineup, it's I haven't been this excited about a Braves lineup since, I don't know, maybe the 90s. So like just top to bottom.
Hey, welcome to my world.
But because I think when you looked at it before in the past few years, you would say, is Dansby Swanson potentially is he one of the weak links in the lineup? But you see how he performed in the playoffs. I think that they have a really good bench. I like the fact that they brought Matt Adams back to be another power hitter from the left side. That's something that they've been struggling with in the last few years to have. And I think that they bring in Darno to be another utility switch. What's the kind of like a back and forth action with Tyler Flowers behind the plate. I really like that move. So, and I think they brought in Yonder Alonso. So they're another really deep team. So it's going to be fun because there are a lot of really good teams. And then, of course, there are the Marlins where, obviously I'm not thinking they're going to win the division, but I think they're a team that with the young talent that they do have, they can make things interesting and trip somebody up along the way.
I don't know if you saw the eyebrow I just gave you on that.
I saw
okay,
it.
Bruce,
like said, I'm not picking them.
Bruce, don't even start.
But I think they can definitely just trip somebody up where you end up losing 2 out of 3 in a series with them, and again in a 60-game season that can be huge.
They're overlooked.
For sure.
I get you.
Yeah.
I get you. Actually, so one of the things that I was talking to a friend of mine today about was the significance of coming off to a great start. And we did talk about that a little bit. We alluded to it in the beginning of our conversation. And I'm curious to know what your thought is on this, Jordan, and yours, MJ. What team do both you guys think could be possibly the surprise team that out of the NL and AL that could just be like, wait, where'd that come from?
So I will say out of the AL, and I think this is just because of the team that's ahead of them that gets most of the attention, so no one really pays attention to them. I say, and MJ's got the jersey on, Oakland A's.
I agree. I actually agree with that.
I really do think that that's one of the teams that's going to surprise people. Even if they finish second behind the Astros, you get that team in the playoffs, they will be. I think they're going to be very interesting and a very dangerous team. And in terms of the NL, I mean, it's going to be tough. There are so many good teams, especially when you look at the top two basically across every single division.
Let me just stretch right there.
I would hope at this point the Cubs don't surprise people. Like they're
fair. No, that's true. That's
true.
A lot of people are picking the Reds, including me, but
Reds. Okay, that
no,
not that big.
No. Okay, Jordan, it's not Bruce's show. You don't have to be nice to him. You can tear him down. It's okay. I do that all the time.
Show. It is our show.
I tell you what though. No, after last year, I am a huge fan of Derek Dietrich. So if you want to be with the Reds, I'm not going to say anything against it.
Let's see. I think I'm going to go with somebody I mentioned earlier, and I haven't really thought about this until I mentioned it to Bruce. I'm going to go with the Blue Jays. I think they have a really young team. I mean, heaven forbid Vlad Guerrero decides to hit like 20 home runs in the 60 games. I think he could just absolutely go off. But I think the caveat with a young team like the Blue Jays, or then in the same line of thinking the White Sox, is if they don't get off to a hot start, they are much more susceptible to a bigger slump because of their inexperience. So I think they could have the benefit of not having game tape on them, and nobody really knows what they can do. There's a little bit on Guerrero, there's a little bit on some of the other young guys on that team, but for the most part, I mean, you look at rookies like Bo Bichette, he doesn't really, other than, the memes going around on Twitter, he doesn't really have game tape on him. So I think that could benefit the Blue Jays. I don't really know in the NL. I appreciate the Oakland A's. I'll just tell you right now, we're not going to go off to a hot start. We don't know how to do that. I wish we did. I wish. Oh my gosh. I mean, maybe, Matt Chapman roasting our lack of fans will do something. Bruce really enjoys bringing that up to me.
I totally did. I threw that at him all the yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it'll be the A's. I'll probably go with Blue Jays in the AL. In the NL, if I had to pick like a big surprise, I'd probably go the Padres. I don't think they're going to pull it off, but I think, again, you have Manny Machado, you have Fernando Tatis, you have Eric Hosmer. It's a good team. I think there are some questions in their rotation, but their lineup is very good. So I think if their lineup gets off to a hot start, kind of supports the pitching, I think they could go off there. But again, I've never been a huge fan of Manny Machado. I still don't think he deserved the contract that he got. I think Fernando Tatis is one of the most exciting players in baseball already, let alone just looking at younger players. I don't think he gets the recognition he deserves. I think he kind of got it last year. There was a lot of hype on social media, but everybody seems to have forgotten him already. I haven't seen a single tweet or post anywhere about him this preseason. So I think the Padres, especially if Tatis can go off, because he is the heart of that team. Manny Machado may be the leadership, but Tatis he's the heart. So I think if he goes off, I think the Padres could make a little bit of a run, but again, that's a big if.
And I think one thing would be interesting to look at too, in that same division. Because again, I think the NL West is one of those divisions where, because the Dodgers have been so good, that people kind of forget that that's not necessarily a bad division.
Yeah.
Whenever you have to go to Coors Field, the Rockies have a very dangerous lineup and a very dangerous ballpark. And then, of course, there are the Diamondbacks, and when you bring in someone like Mad Bum, like you're not looking to rebuild or retool or something. Like you're trying to make some noise as well. So it's going to be an interesting division to look into.
So Jordan, I apologize for laughing when you said that. The only reason why I was laughing is because MJ and I, before you came on, we were talking about the NL West, and we are just like, we can just forget about the NL West because it's the Dodgers and Diamondback. That's why I was laughing. So I do apologize for. For kind of laughing there.
No, you're good. I mean, that's the fun thing about this whole expanded playoff system, right, where, again, like you said, it is Dodgers and Diamondbacks for the most part, but who knows what can happen with those next two slots.
Right.
I think go Bruce. Go. No, it's your turn. Go.
I was going to take it somewhere else. So
no, go for it.
So I'm gonna steer to the NBA if you don't mind, Jordan.
Sure.
So I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it nice and comfortable for you. How do you think the Hawks are gonna do in the bubble, dude?
Oh man, it's you know what? I do not think the Hawks are gonna lose a game. And actually, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this too. The Hawks are off to the best start out of anyone in the bubble because have you seen the new jerseys?
Yes.
They're off to the best start already.
Those are fantastic.
And you know who is the sponsor for those new jerseys, though, right?
What are you talking about? They're still doing the share care, right?
Oh, is it the share care? No, because I think maybe it's next year. I just read something today about the alternate jerseys being Jumpman.
Yeah, so on their alternate. So this was it statement.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
their black ones. Yeah, their black jerseys have the Jumpman logo on, and I saw those. It's pretty cool.
But whoa, you're really saying that they're not gonna lose a game in the bubble?
Can't lose a game if you're not there.
Oh, they aren't there?
No.
I was waiting for Bruce to realize that.
That's why I'm so confident with my pick.
So that being said, though, I do have a question for you, though.
Sure.
So that being said, and that was just me being in jest. How do you feel about them next year, though? Because I'm a huge Trae Young fan. I'm a huge Trae Young fan. I actually do love the guy. I coach basketball, and I use him as an example all the time with the players that I coach about how he works hard and it's a consistent guy and always in the gym. And honestly, he really is a model player for guys such as like myself who may not be super athletic but can actually just grind. So I don't know, man. How do you think about how they're going to look next year, though?
I'm really excited, and I think some of the main reasons why is when you think about when this season started, John Collins was on suspension, and he was part of the reason why there was at least a little bit of excitement for the Hawks going into the year. Maybe not saying win the division because the Miami Heat. Oh my goodness, I love how the Heat are. But just those top 3-4 teams in the Eastern Conference, it's a fair game after that. So maybe this is like they sneak into an 8 seed this year, then build on the momentum next year. But John Collins hopefully he'll be there for a whole season next year excites me. I think Cam Reddish and how he grew as the year went on. He started off shooting really cold early in the season, but it seemed like every single month as the season went on, he got more comfortable and improved. I think people also saw how really good he is defensively. DeAndre Hunter, I said this when he was at Virginia, just consistent. I'm not, I don't think he's going to be a superstar or anything like that, but he's going to be a very good, consistent NBA player. And then I'm also excited to see how Clint Capella fits into everything.
I like Clint.
That. I do too.
I thought that was awesome. That was really good. And it's not very often I can give somebody that's worse than the Chicago Bulls that's a fan of another team crap. So
okay, but I'm gonna call out Bruce real quick because I'm gonna go back to a little comparison that Bruce tried to make. I want to say a month ago. I'm cool with this. Let's go. And he knows exactly what I'm talking about. So Bruce had the audacity to compare Trae Young to Kobe White.
Whoa.
Yes, you. No.
Whoa.
You said Kobe. You basically said you would take Kobe White or Trae Young equally.
No, that's not what I said.
Okay, then what did you say?
I'm going to need him to explain himself.
I said their rookie years. Years. If you compare their rookie years, they're per 35.
36.
I would totally take that because, first of all, Boylan's a freaking idiot. Let's not get into that part. But Kobe White should have been starting from the beginning. That's just neither here nor there. However, if you compare their per 35, they were very similar. However, Trae Young was a better scorer his rookie year than Kobe White. And I did say that. But, like I said, they have very comparable stats per 35.
It's 36, Bruce.
36, sorry. Dude, it's the apple juice.
No, but okay.
the apple juice.
So, Jordan, before I let you loose on him, my response to that was, yes, but then we have Trae Young in his second year basically putting up, while not nearly as efficient, almost the same numbers as Steph Curry in his unanimous MVP year. That's what Trae Young is scoring at right now. So if you really think that Kobe, yes,
his rookie year.
Okay, so yeah, his second year. Oh no. So if you really think that Kobe White is going to go be almost at the same level as unanimous MVP Steph Curry in his second year, you are out of your mind. Jordan, you have the floor.
All right. Well, I mean, I think part of that too is when you look at one of the things I'll defend Kobe White first before I go on the other part.
Okay.
When you look at, I mean, even with the Bulls roster and the Hawks roster, if you take Kobe White and Trae Young out, and going forward, give me the Hawks roster.
100%.
Yeah.
You give me the Hawks roster. And so I think, when you're comparing the two, because again, even in Trae's second year, even though John Collins missed a good bit, but we saw what happened when John Collins came back, almost a 2010 guy. And you have a lot of really good shooters around Trae Young. And again, if you have someone that he can penetrate if he wants to, get by anybody, or he can hit the step back ISO 3 if he needs to. But if you have a lot of shooters around someone like Trae, that's dangerous. That's it's almost not fair.
Agreed.
And so now the way I look at it is with Chicago, though, that's going to be one of the problems for Kobe White going into the second year. Is just obviously, I think Zach LaVine is a very, very good scorer. But for the most part, I think Lauri Markkanen still is going to be a good NBA player. But for the most part with Chicago is who else is going to step up around Kobe White to make it even easier for him to be more effective? That's going to be the big question, I think.
And you need to know what kind of coach you have.
Also very true.
You already know what you got in Boylan.
Okay, but Bruce, when you say that, if Trae Young was in Chicago, he would still perform, and he's pulling up the stats right now to try to defend himself.
I totally am.
If you put Trae Young, let's say we do go into Jordan's hypothetical, you switch Trae Young and Kobe White, Trae Young would still be better statistically and as a player. Like
he would have to do more.
He would have to do more, and I think he would score more points because he has to do more. He would have more points and less assists. I think he'd probably average 33 in Chicago right now. Maybe he'd go down from like almost 10 assists to maybe 6 or 7. But I think he would probably average more points. And Kobe White would not average as many points or as many assists still in Atlanta. Because I think Trae Young is a better player.
I disagree. Only because and mind you, we're comparing rookie years.
Yeah.
That's all I'm doing. We already said that we would much rather have the Atlanta roster.
Yes.
Okay. On that roster, including in the rookie year, Zach LaVine would be a better scorer. Ergo, you would have a better defender on Zach LaVine than Trae Young.
Yeah. Until
later in the season when you get more game tape and this, that, and the other. So that being said, I actually do think that I don't know, man. I still think Kobe. I think people are sleeping on Kobe White. I'm just going to say it.
But that's fair. I think that's fair.
That gives more advantage to Kobe White. If you have a better defender on Zach LaVine, then Kobe White should be doing better.
No. Like I'm going with the fact that like if we switch teams, though, you're saying that. Correct. But if we switch, by the way, there's a rain delay in the Yankees Nationals game.
That's the last thing. That's what I got. Right, another delay.
I know. I just got distracted on it. That's why I'm like, But anyway, no, Kobe White. If you put Kobe White on Atlanta at that time, he would have a lot more weapons around him, and ergo, he would not have as good of stats and this, that, and the other, or whatever. Or he could have great stats because he wouldn't be the main focus of. See, I'm actually giving myself. I'm gonna shut up now because I'm totally giving myself.
Yeah.
I'm totally like, all right.
Okay. As much as I love the Hawks roster, I think you're giving them a little bit too much credit, Bruce. Like John Collins is. Yes.
You think they're a better roster than the Bulls?
Yes, I think the Hawks have a better roster.
But okay, fair enough.
Hello. Yes, I do. I mean,
but you're saying I give them too much credit, though. I thought.
Yes, but even so, I say they're fairly even. I think the Hawks perform better, and maybe that really is because of the coach. Maybe you put neutral coaches, they might be even. But I still, if I'm starting a franchise, I would take what the Hawks have over what the Bulls have. But if you look at their best player, so if you switch teams, right? Trae Young would have Zach LaVine, and that's a better number 2 than he has in Atlanta. So I think
that one's tough, and I'm not gonna say as a if you want to compare who's overall better, Zach LaVine or John. I'm not saying that. Yeah. I think the thing for me though is in terms of what John Collins' game is, what Trae Young's game is.
They go.
I feel like they are
well
a
together.
Much better fit than what Trae would be with Zach LaVine.
Well. I agree with that.
Yeah.
That pick and roll combo or pick and pop, because John has really worked on expanding his range, being about a 40% 3-point shooter. It's deadly.
And the Bulls could have that with Lauri Markkanen. And again, maybe this really is the coach, but also when Kobe White has the opportunity to run the offense, they really don't run pick and roll. They don't run anything with Kobe White and Lauri Markkanen, because I really think they could have that combination there, even with Wendell Carter Jr. I think they could do that there as well. And Zach LaVine does that, but he's not as good of a 3-point shooter as Kobe White could be. So I don't love Zach LaVine as a 3-point shooter.
I'm just watching. I'm watching Coach's face down there.
I know. I kind of like Zach LaVine's a good shooter, dude.
I mean, he is a good shooter. He is a better catch and shoot shooter. That's a weird way to say that. He's a better catch and shoot shooter than he is off the dribble in terms of 3-pointer. I like his mid range. What?
That's all he does, though. That's all Zach LaVine's game is just dribble, shoot, dribble,
right.
shoot. Dribble,
I know.
shoot.
That's why.
Or try to dunk on somebody's head.
You're right.
I'm okay with that too, though.
Absolutely.
We love that too.
Honestly, so I love it, Jordan. So this is legit. This is actually pretty fun though, because this is like the most controversial, I guess, and most argumentative MJ and I have been. I think of all shows, and unfortunately or fortunately for you, you were able to witness it. So,
like I said, I love this. We're the most confrontational and controversial show so far. Is talking about 2 lottery teams. I mean that.
I know, right?
It's not even World Series or NBA Finals picks or anything like that. No, these 2 lottery teams. This is who we're talking about.
It started off as me being a smart ass to you too. And it didn't work out well.
Heaven forbid I actually brought the Warriors into this, then it would.
Oh man, that's gonna be so much fun to watch next year.
They're gonna be so good.
That's gonna be so much fun to watch.
They're gonna get a lottery pick, and then they're gonna go back and win the NBA Finals again.
It's gonna be insane. It's funny too because obviously 2K is not the be all end all. But it was funny to see how the Warriors, the overall jump from this is where they were in the regular season, then the regular season's over, so then you get Steph and Clay healthy and Bag and a couple other guys, and all of a sudden, they're a tier 1 team.
I saw it too.
Yep.
So that being said, hold on real quick, before, because it's already approaching almost 8 o'clock.
Yes.
But I'm out, and you mentioned it, Jordan, so I'm going to throw it out there right now. I'm saying Lakers.
It's hard for me not to say Lakers. I think, LeBron's obviously been on this whole revenge tour mode this year. And I think that, I think one thing will be interesting with some of the people that didn't go to the bubble, how long it's going to take for some of those guys, whether they're in the rotation, not in the rotation, how that's going to plan out. But I think the overarching factor again for this is, they're playing for Kobe.
Yep.
And rest in peace, along with everyone else that was a victim in that crash.
Yes, sir.
But it's just there's that even extra motivating factor with them now, and when that's the case, it's just so hard to pick against the team in sports when they're playing for so much more than just the championship itself.
Yep, a bigger purpose.
So, I don't mean to rain on the parade, but I say Toronto Raptors.
Wow.
I think the Raptors have the best chance to take out the Bucks, better than the Lakers, and I think the Lakers have the least room for error in terms of somebody testing positive. Heaven forbid LeBron or AD test positive, they are absolutely screwed. Same thing with the Bucks. If
Pascal Siakam tests positive, then the Raptors are screwed.
No.
Russell Westbrook just tested positive and he's back. Granted, it's 2 weeks ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Man. You could say that about any NBA team, though. 1 or 2 guys test positive and that team's done. I don't know if I agree with that.
Bruce, we'll start with this next week. Remind me, because I have a little bit of a rant here, so we'll start with this next week.
Let's go.
Well, thank you very much, Jordan, for taking time out of your busy evening to come talk to us. As always, this has been a lot of fun, so thank you, man.
Yeah. No, thanks, guys, for having me. It's been great, and can't wait to talk to you guys again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jordan, for everything that you do for Boys and Girls Club, too.
Absolutely.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Talk to you later, man.
You too, brother. No, honestly, that was fun. He's a good dude. He's a really good dude.
Yes. Any closing comments, Bruce?
Closing comments. For coming back. What? Thank you, basketball, for coming back and honestly giving us a little bit more normalcy in our lives with respect to people that appreciate sports as much as we do.
For sure.
And obviously, be safe, everybody. Wear your damn mask.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more since I'm currently quarantined because I was exposed.
Wear your damn masks.
Yep. If you want, as I said to close last week, if you want football back, wear your mask.
Exactly. All right, MJ, thank you so much, as always.
Yes, sir.
You're the man.
You're the man, Bruce.
Next week.
Talk to you later.